Hello and welcome back to episode 9 of the Shattered Relics League. In the last episode, we explored a lot of what Slayer had to offer this league by using the Pick Your Slayer task passive ability to kind of optimize Slayer alongside getting a lot of passive unlocks. And it paid off big time because we do have a lot of those unlocks now. We're going to continue that theme just in the beginning of this episode, as here I am grabbing a Jad task. This is something you could unlock for just a few points, and definitely worth doing because it lets you use the Slayer helmet through the fight caves, which speeds things up a lot. I went in with double tap in my full carols, and it wound up not being quite as fast as I was hoping. It took me about 40 minutes, but still not a bad fire cape at all, and I'm really happy to have this one out of the way. This will be extremely useful, obviously. Following this, I needed some AFK time for editing the last video that you saw, and I wound up getting about 2k mahogany logs in that time. It got me up to around 95 wood cutting. This will be enough mahogany logs to get to 92 construction using a maxed plank saver relic. That's definitely not 99, but at this point I'm still not sure if I'm going to max, and that's more than enough for anything I would want in my house at any point in the game mode, so I figured it was probably enough and I stopped there. So after this, I kind of wasn't sure what to do. I had gotten most of the passive Slayer unlocks that I could get at this point, but I also wanted to train up my melee stats a little bit, so I was just kind of AFKing some Slayer in the catacombs, and I realized that you can actually get 5 free Obor and Bryophyta kills if you just unlock the bosses. So I went ahead and unlocked those and sent those kills. Unfortunately, I did not get the uniques from them, but that's still a pretty quick and easy little way to unlock a boss and get some more points out of it. They're obviously very easy to kill. I don't think I'll be killing these bosses anymore. The rare drops are pretty rare and they're only worth a few points, so I don't think it's necessarily worth grinding these bosses, especially considering how hard keys are to get. The keys are not boosted. In similar fashion, I went ahead and sent a giant mole kill as well for the task, but I definitely won't be killing it very much. There's not really a reason to. I don't need the nests from this at all. After that, I realized that I really need to get my fletching up because I'm going to be wanting to make some bolts in the future. So I went ahead and did that. I used some of the logs I got from AFK woodcutting and the proflectional relic, and within like a few minutes, I got 72. It was 14 million experience an hour, even using like maples. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm so happy that this skill is so easy. So after this, I figured it was time to go back to Slayer, and there is one passive I can actually get, and that's Zenytes. If I get a Black Demon task, I can do the Demonic Gorillas after Monkey Madness 2 and get those Zenyte drops. It is really slow to do them right now, but I actually really enjoy doing Demonic Gorillas, so it's not too bad. Plus I was just excited to try the relics here, and it turned out to be pretty good. I wound up getting spooned to Zenyte on 3 KC, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Oh my god. What the hell? 3 KC? Are you kidding? As well as getting 2 pieces of the Ballista, which I'm pretty happy about as well. I'd love to get that thing if I can. It would be a lot of fun to try maxing out with range. Unfortunately, I did 150 of these guys, and I did only get the 1 Zenyte, but I'm still really happy to get it. On top of that, I wound up getting 1.8 million gold from it as well, which is the other reason I actually wanted to come here. They drop a lot of rune, and if you use the Alchemaniac fragment on the rune, you get a ton of gold, more than pays for your supplies, and even is quite the profit. So this is a really nice place to come for that. That's kind of one of the trade-offs I was thinking about coming here early versus waiting for later when I can kill them much faster. Hey, the only reason why I'd ever turn off run on this league is to cross this bridge. Or not. So, of course, because I had a Zenyte, I figured I might as well make my first piece of Zenyte jewelry. But in order to do that, we need an onyx. So I used the 1.8 million gold to buy Chaos Runes, of course, completed the Karamja Easy Diary to get the gloves, and then went to the rune shop in the Tizhar region to sell my Chaos Runes for Tikal. A huge thank you to Nikolai78914 here for helping me refresh the shop stock constantly so that I could get a better deal on my Onyx. If you weren't aware, if you have someone who's constantly trading the rune salesperson in the Tizhar region, it will constantly refresh the stock back down to its defaults, which means you can get a lot more Tikal for all of your Chaos Runes than you could otherwise. It does take a lot of that person's time though, so if someone does it for you, make sure you give them a huge thanks. I probably won't be doing this in the future because I'm hoping money will be no problem. So I actually decided to make my first Zenyte into a Necklace of Anguish. I'm not actually sure which one is best to do first in the broader scheme of things, but it was the only one I had the crafting level for, and honestly my range setup is going to need a lot of help, so I figured it was a pretty good first fit. So I went ahead and made the Necklace of Anguish. I, funnily enough, actually got it doubled by the Imkondo's Apprentice relic, and that's actually kind of nice because it does alch for 180k or 270k with the Alchemaniac relic. So if I need some cash, I will alch that later, but for now I'll just keep it as a trophy item. After this, I kind of just pivoted, and I figured it would probably be good to start going for a trident. It wasn't that far off anyway, so I spent about an hour or so doing Slayer at the Wildy Dust Devils using Barrage. Of course, extremely fast experience here, absolutely love this place. Once I hit 87 Slayer, I headed to the Cave Krakens and killed those for a little while. I also did the boss for one quick task, but I got the trident at about 50 KC, which is not too bad. If you didn't know, it's typically better to kill the little ones for your first trident because the drop rate is much higher, even though you get it uncharged. After that, you can go to Kraken and then get the tentacle and whatever else you need there, but the drop rate of the fully charged trident from Kraken boss is actually really high. After this, I was kind of unsure of how to proceed. I probably should just keep grinding Slayer at this point, but I really didn't quite feel like heading back to Dust Devils just yet, and I decided, why not go learn some Zulrah? I don't know why I thought so, but it just sounded good at the moment, and it began a heck of a long journey of learning Zulrah for sure. Now, if you weren't aware, I've never actually killed Zulrah on this game before, so this is an entirely new experience for me. Thankfully, I was able to take double cast an absolute unit into the fight, so it made it a lot easier to learn, but it still was absolutely atrocious for my first, like, 20 kills. I had no idea what I was doing. I was dying constantly. After I did those first kills, didn't really get anything useful, I realized I should probably just go unlock tier 7 because I was about halfway there anyway, and that 7th relic slot would help a lot with this kind of bossing. I probably went to Zulrah a bit prematurely. So of course, that kicks off our next big and potentially final task rush. Let's do it. After ending with 99 farming and getting that tier 7 unlocked,
90 points until tier null. Guess they weren't accounting for me to be an interface when I got this.
I basically spent all of my stages renowned then and there, unlocking basically all of the bosses in the game. There were a couple that had to remain locked, namely, I believe, Nightmare, Theater of Blood, and Raids, but I wasn't worried about it. I figured I could go get a little bit more renowned if I needed to in the future. Those are the things I'm going to be doing at the end of the game, if I even do them at all. So one of the main unlocks of the tier 7 is that you gain a 16 times experience multiplier over the 12 times experience multiplier, and I had been hanging off on processing most of my herb lore supplies for this multiplier, just so I could get the most out of my herbs possible. So with that unlocked, I went ahead and just made a bunch of potions so I could get up to 86 herb lore, meaning that I could boost to 94 and make some anti-venoms. This is before I realized that once you level up the Venomaster fragment, you're immune to venom anyway, plus I didn't quite have it there, so it helped to have the anti-venoms right at this point, but I very quickly stopped using them because realizing Venomaster does it for you. So then I headed back to Zulrah, of course, and I got an Onyx, which is really nice, as getting a couple Onyx from Zulrah will be extremely useful, because not only can I make this one, and getting a couple Onyx from Zulrah will be extremely useful because I'll need more for my future Zenyte jewelry, obviously, and this one I actually went ahead and just made directly into a Fury. A Fury I find is still really useful for areas where you need to change combat styles a lot, so I just went ahead and made it. Plus I don't have another Zenyte just yet anyway. It did get doubled by the Imkando's Apprentice, which is really funny again. However, it makes me realize I wish Imkando's Apprentice didn't actually double your jewelry, it actually just saved the gem. That'd be a lot more useful because imagine you could save a Zenyte or save an Onyx. That would be extremely cool.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never...
So this is kind of out of place, but basically, while I was AFKing in between trips at Zulrah, I actually got a Dragon Chain Body from Dust Devils. Even with the boosted rates, this is still like a 1 in 11k. So thankfully, as I continued my Zulrah grind, I got much better, especially using the full tier 7 relics. I was able to get about 1 minute kill times on average, but as the kill counts crept up, I still had gotten no unique drops other than the Onyx. That is at least until 85 KC when I got my Magic Fang. Woo! Yes! I can't complain too much actually, because this is not too bad of a drop rate. It's still a 1 in 170, so I'll take it.
That's not what I wanted. I wanted the green one, Zulrah. Silly Zulrah.
After that, one of the downtime things I did is actually processed all of the herbs in my bank, and I got all the way up to 94 herb lore from that, which is really cool, because now I can make any potion in the game with a boost, and I'm already over halfway to 99 if I decide to go that far. So at this point, I wasn't too flustered about losing the Serp Helm because I didn't really need it, but I was really looking forward to getting a Zenyte Fang. So I sent a bunch more Zulrah kills until I got up to about 175 kill count. No sign of the Zenyte Fang at all. Not a big deal, as 175 kill count is drop rate about, and you know, technically you only have a 60% chance of getting the drop after kill count, so I wasn't feeling that bad about it just yet. But I was looking for a little bit of a break, and I figured I could chase another gear upgrade in getting an occult necklace at 93 Slayer by killing Smoke Devils. So I figured I'd do some boss Slayer and try to get some tasks for things that you can't normally do on Slayer tasks, and just see what happens. You wind up getting really nice bonus experience for completing these, so I was wondering if it would be faster than just barraging Dust Devils in the wilderness, and I think it actually was. I was getting about 80,000 experience bonus per task, and because you can pick as low as 3 kills, some of the tasks are extremely fast. So I think this might be a good method for getting up Slayer, depending on what boss tasks you get. So my first task was actually to head to Vorkath, and I only did 3 KC here because I didn't really have a bunch of good gear for it, but I did send my first kill using the Salve Amulet that I obtained from completing the Haunted Mine quest and Tarn's Lair. And I did it with range just to see how it would go and to get a couple superior bones so that I could actually make my super anti-fires for it. It wound up being pretty terrible with a rune crossbow, but I did get through the 3kc not without too much pain. After that, I actually got a Krill Suturoth task. This is a little bit annoying because both of these monsters, Vorkath and Krill, can be killed on normal Slayer tasks, but it wasn't too bad because I was kind of excited to go try it out. During getting my 40kc to actually do the boss, I actually did get my Dragon Boots from Spiritual Mages. This is actually one thing I was saving for this specific part of the grind because I figured I would get Dragon Boots passively anyway, and it paid off big time. I wound up getting absolutely spooned at Krill. I did 35 kills there, and during that time I got a Zamorak Spear. Not one, but 2 of them, and I also got the Zamorak hilt. So I am extremely enthused about this. This is amazing. After that, I got assigned a Saradomin task, which is actually the first task, which is really nice because that's not one that you can normally do on Slayer, but it was still absolutely terrible. Even with the Slayer Helm boost and the relics, running around the room using the ranging method was just abysmal. Absolutely slow kills. I'm gonna have to wait to come back to Saradomin until I have some of the more fast methods that you can do with magic and Zamorak Sight, but at this point I still don't have the Zamorak Sight relic, so this is what I'm stuck with for the 35 kills. I wound up getting the Saradomin hilt though as well, so that's 2 hilts I've been spooned on already. The next task I got was a Callisto task. Only did 3kc here, but it was nice to get to learn how to lure Callisto, and I'm actually hoping that I'll get a chance to do all the wilderness bosses and learn how to lure them to be safe spottable. It's completely brain dead once you have it lured though, of course, and with no risk of being PK'd, it was just completely AFK. That task did give me 93 Slayer though, so I headed out to the Smoke Devils. I got a Miss Battle Staff during my first task, but no occult. But on the second task, I actually decided to do the boss instead, and I did get the occult after about 70 kills. That is actually a huge upgrade for magic. That'll be pretty much best in slot for Magic Amulet for the rest of the game mode. Super happy to have that one. So at this point, I figured I have my upgrade. I should probably double down and head back to Zulrah. I still need that Zenyte Fang. I really want it. Hovering around 200 KC, and still have a ways to go probably to get the Fang. And the kills passed. We hit 220, not a single unique since the second Magic Fang. We hit 300, not a single unique since that Magic Fang. Nothing, not even an Onyx. And I had to take a break at around 300 kills. So I figured it was time to kill some Bandos. This is one thing I was hoping to get during the boss task rush, but it didn't happen. But I'm not too worried about it because Bandos is a pretty easy boss to kill anyway, even without the Slayer Helm boost. I wound up imbuing my Warrior and Zerker rings with Nightmare Zone points in order to get an extra bonus from wearing them for this. And then I headed right to Bandos. It was actually an extremely good idea. I got Spooned Boots at 32 KC and a hilt at 34 KC. And then I finally got Zamorak Sight as my last God of War Dungeon relics. So now at this point I had all 4 of the God of War Dungeon relics unlocked. Shortly thereafter I actually got hilt number 2. And then a Bandos chestplate at 57 kill count. This meant that I basically had completed Bandos except for Tassets at this point. And then, completely unexpectedly, I got the pet. He's so cute. General Gardar Jr. Aw, he's gonna help me kill his father. That's actually ridiculous because the pet isn't actually boosted. It's just normal drop rate, and I'll be able to keep little mini Gardar with me through the rest of the leagues, which is really cool. And before I left, I actually got hilt number 3 and Godsword shards number 2 and 3, and one more Bandos chestplate just for good measure. Absolutely ridiculous luck at Bandos. I'm so incredibly happy. I'll have to come back for those task sets, but I'm not too worried about it. Getting spooned on all these drops has just been monumentous to my account, and I'll be super geared up for melee in the future. And it was at this point that I decided it is time to go back again to Zulrah, but also my computer just decided it was time to just completely be uncooperative and not record anything. So I wound up doing a lot of these kills on a separate computer where I wasn't recording a lot of my kills, and I got the Fang at 350 KC. Honestly, I am super happy to have gotten it, but man, going over double drop rate for this Fang has been absolutely killer to my motivation. We'll have to see what comes next, but I'm hoping it will be a little better than this. But with that, that's actually going to be where we end today's episode of the Shattered Relics League. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, a huge thank you to all of the members who have joined the channel. Your support means so much and allows me to keep making these videos, so thank you so much for joining. And of course, an extra huge thank you to those who have joined at the top tier, Peepo Time and Killer912. Take care everyone, and I will see you in the next episode of Shattered Relics.